clear this. I'm going to git clone. If I paste the URL, what's the folder it's going to make for me? It's going to make a folder called OO_getswol, right? It's going to clone it. So if I ls, right, which means like list everything, it's just going to be OO_getswol. What I'm going to do is I'm going to blast it, rm-rf OO_getswol. So if I ls again, it's gone. I've recursively deleted it. Don't worry about those two commands. I'm just explaining to you what they do. If I were to git clone, paste that again, oops, paste this URL again, it can in fact take another argument, which is the name of the folder you want to put it in, instead of using the default. So here I'm just going to put 05, right, many to many review. If I run this, it's going to actually make a new folder called many review that actually puts all the contents in. Cool. Did you feel like you learned something? Yeah. My job is done. Just kidding. Great. Let's open this up. So to set the expectations, the idea is that you will have some code written for you, right? Because that's what it's going to be like at work. Like you're going to go into some sort of production environment where some code is already written. Like if you were to go work at Facebook, do you think you're going to build Facebook from scratch? Come on now, all right? There's going to be code that exists already. You have to be able to look at, read, understand the code, and then add on any deliverables. So if I were to open this up, I have to try my best to understand what's happening here. So the first thing is I have to go through the README, right? It's literally entitled README, which probably should tell you what to do, right? So, word has just come from the higher ups, and you're in charge of building out a domain that keeps track of weightlifters and the gyms that they lift at. Yes, gyms, very good. Everyone knows that you need to get gains when you're traveling, like I am, or just for whatever reason. Cool, there's your premise, right? That's like the idea. You're gonna build some sort of weightlifting gym app. Here's a setup, here's a code review. Your goal is to build out all the methods and deliverables. You're gonna do your best to follow Ruby best practices. So for example, try using higher level array methods such as map, select, and find, and where appropriate, instead of .eaching everything. I promise you, you have to read the README. I recommend reading it several times. All right, there are no tests. You'll need to test your code on your own. How do we feel about that so far? Right? There's no learn, there's no RSpec. We've provided you a console where you can test your code. To enter the console session, run ruby tools console.rb. Okay, cool. Ruby tools console.rb, great. Inside Ruby tools, I see console.rb, which simply does, you don't need to require any files. We've done it for you here. This require relative is pulling in all of the code. Test code goes here. Wow. How clear. This must mean this is where I put my seed data. I even left a binding pry and gains, all right, for your pleasure. So let's take a look. Here are the deliverables, right? Here's what we need to be able to do. There's 3 models here: lifter, membership, and gym. Okay? We need to establish the relationship between them and ultimately figure out how this works. Between lifter and membership, what would you say this relationship is? A lifter blank blank membership. Has one or has many? I would say the lifter can probably work out a bunch of different gyms, probably has a bunch of different memberships. I would say the lifter has many memberships. What about the relationship between membership and lifter? You have to finish the sentence both ways because they have different relationships sometimes. So membership blank blank lifter. I'd say belongs to, right? If I paid $50 a month to join this gym and I have a membership there, that membership identification card, that belongs to me, right? I shouldn't be giving it to you and be like, yo, listen, just pretend you're me and get in there. That would be crazy. Whether that happens or not, it's a different story, but I'm saying we shouldn't be doing that. What about the relationship between membership and gym? Membership blank blank gym. Right. Membership blank blank belongs to gym, right? If I have a membership to Equinox, or I have a membership to LA Fitness, I have a membership to CrossFit, then that membership belongs to that gym, right? That one membership only gives me access to one gym. What about gym and membership? Right, gym has many memberships, right? That'd be crazy if it only had one. That means that I opened this gym for one person only. I'd make no money. I'd close very quickly. What about the relationship between gym and lifter? That's actually, yeah, that's correct. Gym has many lifters through memberships. And the same way, lifter can go to many gyms through their membership. So if we actually drew it out, we got gym, lifter, and we have membership. We talked about gym has many lifters, but it's going to be through that membership. This lifter can go to many gyms, but it's going to be through the membership. We talked about gym and membership. Gym has many memberships. Membership belongs to a gym. Lifter has many memberships, and these memberships belong to a lifter. Does this look familiar to you? Okay. Which one's the join table?
Membership.
Okay. So membership must know about? Yeah, everybody. But specifically here. Right. Exactly. So we've established a relationship. We understand. We've done the domain modeling, which is very important to understand. Big picture. Now let's meet these deliverables. Okay, a lifter. I need to get a list of all the lifters. Okay. Well, what do we do here? You see this deliverable, maybe on a test or maybe at work. How do we do this? Okay, in the lifter class, let's open that. It looks like I have some data here already. Interesting. So let's do this. I'm going to open membership here. I'm going to open gym here. I'm going to open lifter here. Cool. Also going to open the Readme. And it says to get a list of all the lifters. Where do I want to put this method? In the lifter class, right? Yeah. So what do I want to name it?
Self.all.
Self.all?
You could do some other stuff before that.
Okay. Like what else is important?
You need to make an all variable that's an array. Classical empty array.
Yeah. Very good.
Yeah. You need to have an intake in any new instance.
Very good. Anything else?
And then print it out the underself. Yeah.
Right. Very good. So far, so good. Nothing crazy. We should test this deliverable right now. For the sake of time, so I can get through more deliverables, I'm not going to. But we should test. How would we test?
Make some seed data.
I need to make some seed data. And where would I want to put that?
Under console.
Right, tools console.rb, right? So I'd probably make some gyms here. It's the testing data, yeah. I'm glad that clicked for you.
No, we were making our own seed data in the Pride. So we would when the Pride stopped, then we would start making.
Oh, that's a pain because every time you start Pry, you got to recreate the seed data. Oh, embarrassing. But there's a better way. There's a better way.
Yeah.
So let's make some seed data because we know we'll need it, right? Gym 1. What do I need inside this gym? Name, great. What do you want to call this? Golds, very good. Nice. Okay, anything else? Gym 2? Let me guess, silvers. Okay, just kidding. 24 hours, very good. Nice. All right, so you know what? Let's just do it right. How do I run this file?
Ruby tools. Yeah.
Console.rb. Cool? All right, now let me check out my brand new class method. Uh-oh. Oops, those are gyms. I meant, yeah, we built lifters, right? That was embarrassing. All right, well, let's just make some lifters then. All right, your boy, I will be a lifter. Lifter.new. What does this need? A name and lift total. Okay, great. Name, me, lift total.
Oh my god.
Big weight.
Yo,
It's legs, right? It's legs.
yo, I'm way past the 1,000-pound club, but thank you. Thank you. All right. Great. Does anyone else want to hoist weights? Does thou even hoist? You have a nickname or?
Go DJ.
Dang, all right. DJ, cool. Any particular name in here? DJ? DJ? All right. And how much, what do you lift?
I'm not at 1,000. I go 750.
All right, bet it up. Cool. Anyone else? No? All right, you want to get, all right, cool.
These are grand.
Yo, what do we do? What are we doing here? What nickname preferably?
Current.
KK.
Wow, with the K, Curran. 2 R's?
Sure.
That's fine?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Lifter.new. Any other powerful naming here?
Do KK.
KK?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll keep it at 2. And how much do you lift?
1001.
Damn, that was cold-blooded. All right. Okay, cool. All right. Let's get out of here. Let's go back in and let's test lifter.all. And they're there. All right. Me, just KK, and DJ. I almost said JJ. I don't know. It's awful. Anyways, it works, right? Is this done?
Yes.
Good to go. Let's go to this next one. Get a list of all the memberships that a specific lifter has. Okay? So let's do this. I'm not going to mock your intelligence. And the idea is that under lifter, these should be all the methods. Right? So under lifter, I want to be able to do something like this. Get a list of all the memberships that a specific lifter has. So I have to make it instance or class.
Instance.
Right, a specific lifter. So I would go instance, right? And I want to see all the memberships that a specific lifter has. Remember what this code is going to look like. It's going to be like lifter1 dot something, 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 something. What do you want to call it, this method that lists all of that lifter's memberships?
All memberships.
Just memberships.
I would say my memberships, you know, something like that. So let's just call it memberships. Memberships. All right, cool. What's the logic that happens here? What do we need to do to get a list of all the memberships that belong to this lifter?
Goes through membership class.
Right, it has to go through membership class, right? So what do we need? What information do we need to be able to see whether or not I have a membership?
The all method from the class. The class all variable from membership class.
Right, the idea is that for me to look at to see what memberships I own, I have to look at all the memberships to see, hey, who's the lifter in there, right? So it sounds like we need to do something like membership.all, but does this exist right now?
No.
No. Okay, so how can we create this access to all the memberships?
Class variable.
Right.
All.
In the same way that we did the other ones. Exactly. So now we have access to membership.all, right?
Right.
But what are we trying to do? We talked about the fact that membership is the join between gym and lifter. And membership has to know about
Gyms.
the gyms and the... Does the membership know about the gym and lifter right now? No. Can we add it? How do we do that?
We can initialize each membership with the gym and lifter.
Yeah.
And the cost.
The cost, sorry.
Okay.
And we need to be able to read those.
Absolutely. We need to just read them all, or do you want to be able to write them? I would just say reader is fine. Right.
Can't transfer your memberships.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a checking and a savings. You know, it takes 3 business. I'm just kidding. All right. So you got cost, gym, and lifter. Great. So interesting. Now we have all the memberships, and what are we trying to do?
Select.
Yeah, I would select them. And what are we trying to select? Oh my God, I am awful today. All right, cool. Got to shake it out. All right, what are we going through here? What are these? X
Memberships.
membership objects. Yeah. What's important about the membership object? Right. If it matches the lifter.
So membership dot lifter matches. So
Right. Remember, this is the membership object, but specifically, I want to check to see if the lifter inside the membership is me. That's like what the logic is. So we should test this data, right? How can I test this data?
create memberships.
I got to make some memberships, obviously. So let me go make some memberships 1, right? And let's see what it needs. Cost, gym, and a lifter. So membership.new. The cost is, well, what gym are we going to, first of all? Golds or 24 hours? Golds? All right. How much does golds cost?
It's like 20 something a month.
Let's keep it easy, right? Let's make it $20 a month, right? The gym is going to be gym 1, which is golds, and the lifter, who goes to golds?
You do.
Okay, I go to golds. Your boy. Very good. All right. What about membership 2? 24-hour access costs 24 hours. And who goes there? DJ? All right. Okay. Good. Let's test. Let me get, embarrassing. Exot. That's why I keep saying that. I spell that wrong all the time. All right. So let's take a look at membership 1. All right. If you ever forget what we're trying to do and you're like writing all this code and you're really into it and you go ham on the seed data and you forget your deliverable, we can always go back and be like, okay, we're doing this one inside lifter, and this is the method I'm trying to test. How can I test memberships?
Call memberships on a lifter.
Yes, I have to call, what the? Yes, I have to call memberships on a lifter. Sorry, that is 100% correct.
I thought I was like, oh.
Yeah, no, you're good. All right, so on lifter, say 1. Oh, whoa, just kidding. Lifter 1, oh, we just have them as names, great. So if I go to your boy and I do memberships, what should I see?
Gold.
Just golds, right? Is this enough seed data to kind of test?
No.
Not really. I should probably join one more gym. Membership 3, we need one more gym. Gym 3. And let's just, for whatever reason, we decided to go hard in the paint. We wanted to join this local CrossFit gym. We also realized it's very expensive, and it's me. I wanted to go. So if I were to exit out of here, and I go back, and I were to check my memberships, I should see how many.
2.
Great. What's specifically something else we should test just to make sure it's working?
See if the last lifter has any memberships.
Great. Let's see if our boy has any current memberships. None. And if DJ.membership should be
1.
exactly. Oh, y'all track it. Too easy. So let's go back to lifter. Get a list of all the memberships that a specific lifter has. How we feel? Yeah, that's done. Gucci gang. All right. Get a list. Get a list of all the gyms that a specific lifter has memberships to. Okay. So, what's the scope? Get a list of all the gym memberships that a specific lifter has memberships to. I'd say instance. What do you want to name this? Gyms, sure. Great. And what do we need to do to see all the gyms that I go to? Right, you have to go through the join table, right? As a lifter, if I want to see my gyms, I have to go through memberships. So, should I do membership.all? Check all the memberships?
Already done that.
Hmm. I've already done that. So I need to do what?
Call membership.
Right, I need to check all of my memberships, and specifically what about them? Right, which gym? So what should I do here? What am I calling? .gym? What is memberships? What is memberships?
It's
an array.
Array of,
Objects.
specifically what type of objects?
Objects, class, of instance of
Instances of,
membership.
yes. Can I call .gym on an array of membership objects? No. So someone said map. Why?
Because we're doing a one-for-one transformation of data.
Oh man, I told my girl this weekend, I was like, yo, I was kind of hard on my class, and I was like, you need to understand map. It's a one-for-one transformation. I think I scared them, but they got it. But here I am. Yep, y'all got it. Oh, my heart is swelling with pride. Map, right? Because we're trying to do that one-for-one transformation. So these are membership objects. And specifically, what am I trying to transform this membership object into?
An array of gyms.
Gyms. Gyms?
Gym objects, right?
So what do I do here? What's the move?
gyms equals.
Just
Gyms
gym.
equal?
Just gym.
Just gym? Gym equal?
No. No.
What is this code doing?
It is
Just going through each of the memberships
And
that
pulling
the
the gym.
specific lifter has and pulling
the
and
gym
storing
for
in
that.
a new array at one-to-one size.
Yes. Wow. That was a team effort, and I'm actually, I want to say impressed, but that would mean that, like, you know, I didn't expect y'all to be able to get it done. So I'm proud and happy. It's going through each membership, right? And remember, membership has gym and lifter in it, and cost. I'm going to transform that data from membership objects, and I just want to list a brand new array of just gym objects. So I'm making that transformation. So just gym is absolutely correct. Yeah, I'm like digging this participation, actually. Yeah, let's test. So if I were to go back, boop, 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 and I go, and I check lifter. So like, let's just take DJ.gyms. What should I get?
Just one.
What's the data structure?
An array of gym objects.
But how many?
Just one gym object.
Here we go. One gym. In the same way that if we looked at our boy over here, bro, you need to get those gains. And I over here, however, am wasting my money at both Gold and CrossFit because I'm not going to either one. Right? Cool. How we feel so far? Done? Tested thoroughly? Code works? To do what it's intended to do.
So I just want to like first, it's a dot map because when we do def memberships, we already have an array of like the specific size we want already.
Well,
because
it's
it pulls out like the specific amount of. Okay. So they like say you have two memberships and it pulls out an array of two memberships, and so we want a dot map because there's two gyms in those memberships.
yes.
Okay.
Yes. Now here's the hella extra part. Ready? Let's make it just a hair trickier to prove this point to you. Right? So if I, right, am looking at my gyms, my membership, I'm doing this one-for-one transformation. I want to see a list of all the gyms I go to. For whatever reason, I decide to be a moron, and I join not only the CrossFit gym or the 24 hours locally. There's a 24 hours in Atlanta, and there is a 24 hours in New York City. Cool? The idea is that if I were to make a brand new membership, and it was also, well, New York City is expensive, right? If I joined, actually I'm just part of Gold's, right? Oh my God, I have to join this thing. Oh my Lord. All right. I joined Gym 4 and Gym 2. I apparently joined all the gyms like a moron. The idea that I think you're thinking is like, oh my God, what if there's a duplicate, right? If I'm joining two 24-hour gyms, how can I see a unique list of all the gyms? Right? There must be some sort of way. So if I have an array, Ruby array, and I want them to be unique. Let's take a look. There's some sort of unique method that I can call. If there's an array, there's two A's, two B's, and I run .unique, it gets rid of the duplicates. Right? So in that event, if something like this happened, I mean, this is not a good example, but that's the theory, right?
Mm-hmm.
If something like that happened, I can just go, boop. I can see a unique list. Right? So I wouldn't get tied up too much about like having the same size and everything. I think that's helpful to consider, but it's more like, what is this doing?
Right.
Right? And I think
was
you're
just wondering like why .map is the best. But like now I got it.
well. Remember, I'm taking a membership object, and there are three things in there: cost, gym, and lifter. I just want the gym back. So then when I do .gyms, I see an array of gyms.
Mm-hmm. 3 gyms in
Yeah.
membership. Yeah.
Mhm.
Got it.
Awesome. Mad powerful. All right.
Just up to the level. It's mad.
Oof. Well, you know, I had a friend who was from like a certain part of the South where he had that twang, and they say powerful as like just like a regular thing. I'm like, man, I got a powerful thirst, and I'm like, okay. Great. We want to get a list of all the gyms. We've done that. Let's get the average lift total for all the lifters. Interesting. This is where it becomes dicey, and this is where I'm telling you the tools you need to succeed have been given to you. So inside the lifter class, I need a method, instance or class. I want to see a
Class.
average lift total of all the lifters.
Class.
Right, class. So self dot average lift total, something like that. That name sounds pretty spicy. What I'm trying to do is exactly this: get the average lift total of all the lifters. Who feels comfortable knowing how to do that right now? Kind of, maybe. All right, well, what do we need? What information do we need to get the average of all of the lifts? You need all the lift totals, right? So how do we get that?
You don't have a method that collects all the totals.
Right, we need a method that collects all the totals. That's first. All right, so get a list of all the totals. Cool. Who feels like that is not the way we should be going? Just the logic of it. If I need the average, I need to get a list of all of them. Right? That's not crazy. Okay. And then once I have a list of all the totals, what should I do?
Add them all up.
Right.
Divide
Add them all up.
the length.
And then divide by how many. So we've already kind of mentioned it, but the dot length, so to speak, or the dot count, whatever, right? Great. How can I get a list? Like, this is the logic, right? Exactly the step-by-step. How can we get a list of all the totals? What do we want in our minds? What would be nice to have? Like, for example, if I had in my console 3 lifters, do I want 3 lifter objects? Do I want a list of all their names? Do I want a list of all their totals? Do I want a list of all the gyms? Do I want a list of all the gym prices? What would make sense to you?
All the totals.
Well, all the totals, right? Well, I have all the lifters, but I want to pull out just their totals. Is there any way I can do that? Let's kind of start the code. I want to get a list of all the totals. The first thing I need to do is
You have the dot all or dot
go through all the lifters. But what am I looking for? What am I trying to get?
Okay, totals.
Totals. How can we do that? What does lifter.all look like?
An array.
Remember, we have lifter right? And then it's like X, like, and then a bunch like of numbers, and then you have like at name is equal to okay, and then you have at lift total is equal to like a number, 400, whatever, right? I have several of these.
You look your dot all dot lift total.
Ready? I have several of these. It's an array of lifter objects. What I want is an array of just numbers that specifically correspond to each person's lift total. Is there any way I can take this array and create a new array with just lift totals? I want to be able to. Oh, that's painful.
And say it.
I want to take an array of x, y, z, and I want to come back with just numbers.
Transformation.
We need a map.
Yeah, what map?
Say it together. Map.
All right. And what are these? X, Y, Z?
Lifter.
Lifter objects. What do I want out of the lifter object? Lifter dot. I think it's just lift underscore total, yeah. Okay, great. Now I want to add them all up somehow. So do I have a reference to this new array?
No.
Okay, lift totals. Now I want to add them all up. Okay, how can I add them all up? I don't know. Let's find out. Ruby, you tell me what you would look up.
Add each element in array.
Add each element in array. Is that what you would write? I mean, that looks fine to me. How to sum the numbers of an array? Let's find out.
Google. Powerful.
I can do dot each, right? Okay, is there a nice way to get them? Wow, this looks great to me. There's something called inject. Interesting. See Ruby's enumerable documentation. Why, thank you, kind developer. There's some sort of inject method. It combines all the elements of an enumerable by applying a binary operation specified by a block. Okay, whatever. Okay, looks like I can just sum some numbers, right? Do you know what the 5 dot dot 10 means?
Range.
Yeah.
It's a range. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is what this is saying. I can do this dot reduce, pass in this symbol plus, and get 45. Interesting. I can also do dot inject and pass it this block of code that I'm somewhat familiar with. Interesting. Okay. Well, let's find out. Let's test this, right? Would you want to do this or do you want to do this? Because I know which one I'm more familiar with right now. And then one just looks like what I would describe as magic or syntactical sugar. Which one do you want to try? The inject looks like something I'm more familiar with, right? So, okay, let's try it. So far, have I done anything absolutely wild? Something that you cannot do on your own? I didn't think so. The tools. So, lift totals. What'd you say?
How do I Google?
I literally put in what you said. And I clicked the first link.
Oh, no, I was joking.
Oh, yeah. You're right. I was just trying to make a point, though. All right, bet. Cool. So I'm just going to copy this code. And I'm just going to do this. All right? And then I'm going to test this freaking code because I have no idea what it does. I don't even know if it works. So how can I test this code? Well, I need to go into my terminal. And I'm going to get out of this, first of all. Bang, bang, bang. I'm going to come right back in. How can I test this method? Is it going to be lifter1.average total? What the? Oh, because I had all this junk here. Sorry. Embarrassing. Is it lifter1.average lift total?
No.
No, it's a class. So lifter class dot average lift total. If I run it, I'm in the binding. What does this line of code return? 2,751. Interesting. Let's take a look at our seed data. would 2,751 be accurate if I added those numbers up?
Yes.
Interesting.
You picked good numbers.
I done did. I done did. And by me, I mean you. Cool. So who feels confident that they know what this is even doing, though? We know it works, but do you really know what it's doing? Do you understand it? Me neither. So let's see if we can somehow change this single line into a boom, boom, multi-line. Did you see that magic? I made that block into a multi-line using the power of magic. Not really. One more time, ready? Let's do this. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this so we can see this very clearly. All I did was go boom, do, boom, end. And then I said, That's all I did. I made that one block into a multi-line block. And so where would I want to maybe move this pry to see what is happening?
Or lift totals.inject.
Right there.
Somewhere in the inject, right? I want to test this. So let's find out. Okay. Embarrassing. Oh, right. Exit does what?
It continues.
Right. It goes to the next iteration, right? So I can do lifter dot average. And now I'm in the binding. What do we want to test here?
So
Well, first, let's do this. Let's test lift totals, right? Like, does that 33 like work as intended? We never tested, and it does. It did that one-for-one transformation. I got back the number, the lifts for each lifter. So, what do we want to test now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some in head.
Right, sum and end, because I have no idea what they are. I have no idea what they're doing. So if I hit sum, I see 1,000. Interesting. Sum is the first number. Interesting. And what would n be? If I'm going to add all these up, what do you think n could possibly be?
next number.
The value.
The next value. And then what do you think makes sense to happen? For them to add those two numbers up, because I can only deal with two numbers at a time, right? I have sum and n. I don't have sum n x, y, z. I just have two values, sum and n. So if I add sum and n together, what should I get?
1757.
Right, which is what line 39 does. All right, I'm just going to add sum and n. Meaning, if I hit exit, I will be in the
Next iteration.
next iteration. So let's do exit. And I'm in that next iteration. Let's check what sum is. Let's just think about the word sum for a second. And what do you think n might be?
1001.
Wow. So what inject is doing, to wrap it up for you, is it takes the first two numbers in the array and it does whatever you want with them. In our case, we added them together. On the next iteration, sum became the return value of sum and n. And then n became the next number. So it's just going to take the first two, that's the new total. Then it's going to add number 3, that's the new total. Then it's going to add number 4, that's the new total. Then it's going to add number 5, and that's the new total. This is what is known as the accumulator, because it just accumulates all the numbers. Do you see how we kind of like had no idea how to do something? We Googled it very simply, looked at literally the first thing, saw the first answer, looked in the documentation, was like, just pasted it and like, oh my God, it works, but I don't understand it. Did we have the tools to understand? Did we have the tools to check? Did we have the tools to learn? Yeah, absolutely. So we know that this is good, right? What is the next step?
Get the average.
Right. Well, divide by length, right? The whole feature is getting the average. So do I have access to this? No, right? So this is not lift totals. This is going to be, I would say, array of lifts. So this would be an array of lifts. And then lastly, we need to do, all right, the lift total. Because remember, when I add them all up, I'm just getting one thing now. It's an array of one number. So let's move that binding pry right out here. And let's see if that's correct. I'm going to test this again. And then I'm going to take a look at what the lift total is. It comes back as a number. Not an array, not a hash, a number. So can I just do this, divide by what? 3?
Yeah, no.
I can, but that's hard coding it. What should it be though?
Counts of
The count of what?
Array of lifts.
Array of lifts dot length. That's going to give me the average. Boom. Boom. So remember, the logic is klooch. And there we go, we did it. Did I do anything brand new to you that you could not have done?
Actually explained it Jake for the first time.
What?
You explained it Jake for the first time.
I did.
Never did it.
No. But do you feel comfortable being able to look at documentation and testing it? That's really what the goal is, right? If I throw something at you, don't panic. You have the tools. Google everything. If I looked up average, I would have probably had a harder time than if I broke down each part and Googled one specific thing. If I know how to do one specific thing, Google will tell me like, oh, if you want to just move X into Y, I could do that. But I can't find a Stack Overflow thing that's going to teach me to go from X to Z to B to F. If I'm like, hey, how do I get X to Z? It'll tell me. How do I get Z to A? How do I get A to B? How do I get B to C? If you look up each individual portion, you can take your data and transform it any way you want. Do what you need to do with it, but you can't ask it to do the whole thing for you because that would require somebody asking the exact specific question to your specific situation. But if you're like, hey, how do I add numbers in an array? That is a generic thing that should be done. And so that's kind of what the idea is. All right, we're running out of time, so I'm just gonna like walk through the rest. Average lift, done. Get the total cost of a specific lifter's gym memberships. How are we gonna do this?
So
Okay, instance, right? On the lifter. Get the total cost.
all the gyms for that lifter,
Right.
total costs.
Right, I would go through all the gyms. And then I need to do what?
Map.
Yes, to transform all the gyms into the costs. And then, wow, wouldn't it be nice if we knew how to add them all up and then divide them? Those skills are useful. The last thing I will leave you with is how many things does this method do? 3, right? Does it make sense to separate these two though for an average? Not really. I think these two should go together. But can I pull this out and make it its own method? I would refactor this. Cool. All right. Are there any questions as to like reading through the documentation, going through each of the deliverables and testing them and writing your own seed data? Awesome. All right, great. That's all I have for you this morning. Thank you.